Plays a catalytical role to expand collaboration and cooperation like we have today with AFIVA. Hopefully, we can increase more connection for EV utilization in the region. Secondly, as a data and knowledge hub, we would like to provide knowledge repository for all ASEAN member states. We have done a lot of activities research since many years ago and is hopefully be able to provide you information. It will not there is no gap in terms of data repository in the region in the future. And lastly, as a think tank, we did a research study internally and also collaboratively with partners. Next slide, please. What we are aiming in the region, actually, we are having ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, or APIC. In the APIC, we targeting in enhancing energy connectivity and market integration in ASEAN to achieve energy security, accessibility, affordability, and sustainability for all. I would like to underline on the energy security. Why? Look at the current situation. We just maybe it's still happening, the COVID-19 pandemic. We are in the middle of economic recovery right now. Not to mention the potential of recession and also the war happening at the global level. So we need to be solid as a region, to unify, to boost whatever we can do to support energy security enhancement for the region. Within the APEC, we have 7 program areas. The first area or program we discuss or we focusing on ASEAN Power Grid. What we aiming here is connectivity, how each country can connect each other in terms of like electricity development. This is really crucial. Why? Because different country has different potential, different focusing area, and also current implementation of, for example, renewable energy. So I think we can complement each other in terms of the country in the future. It's related with the demand of electricity in the future, which relate with AFIVA. The second program area related on Trans-ASEAN gas pipeline. We still relying on fossil fuel, particularly on gas for electricity generation. We want to make sure we able to have stable supply for the region under this program. And the next one, coal and cleaner coal technology. Of course, it's quite a lot of discussion here. However, again, we're still relying on fossil fuel, and coal is here and everywhere in the region. So we need to do something. At least we make a better development for coal in the region until we really transit into a greener energy development. And the next one, energy efficiency and conservation. This is very important and directly related with EV development in the region. Why? I think I will explain in my next slide. Since energy efficiency and conservation is low-hanging fruit, something that we can do, I think the Department of Energy of the Philippines make a very good tagline on ENC. EE is the way of life. I think this is something that we need to utilize in the individual level, corporate level, also in the regional level. And the next program, we are focusing on renewable energy, which is my department are focusing right now. The next program is regional energy policy and planning. Here we talk about and streamline everything, all sectoral. So the region has common understanding, common goal, so we can streamline our activities all together. And last but not least, we have a program on civilian nuclear energy, or CNE. We need to be ready. We need to be ready in the region. So that's why currently our focus on the capacity building. How we want to see the potential, how we want to learn from other countries, for example, like China, Japan, and Korea in the future. If we want to pursue it, we're able to do it and have a best practice already in our hand. I would like to highlight 2 important targets here under the APIC. First, on the renewable energy, we are targeting to increase RE share to 23% in TPS and 35% in ASEAN installed power capacity by 2025. And another one, we would like to reduce energy intensity target 32% in 2025 based on 2005 level. Next slide, please. Specifically on the ENC program area on reducing energy intensity reduction, we have 5 outcome-based strategies, and we have 1 dedicated strategies to pursue energy efficiency in transport. This is where the role or the relation with the electric vehicle mobility or development is in line with regional target or activity. Next slide, please. Just last month, we launched our ASEAN Energy Outlook. I think if you're interested to see the full report, you can visit aseanenergy.org and download the report. A lot of interesting information here, and we also have new scenario in the new Outlook, which is the least cost optimization using technology neutral approach. We introduce optimization of applies the least cost optimization of all viable technologies with a technology neutral approach, meaning to say we want to approach greener energy development, energy transition by the existing available technology that we have. It impact maybe the least cost that we can have in the region, because if you want to pursue in the higher penetration of renewable energy, for example, it also end up with the high cost for the region. Next slide, please. So what do we have in the outlook? We assess by 2025, transportation will contribute to 28.7% of greenhouse gas emission, second largest share behind electricity generation. So this is important note for us. So transformation is needed to reduce GHG emission from the region. If there is no policy intervention, the transport sector energy consumption will be 490 MTOE, with 91% comes from oil. So this is very much consideration for all of us here, and give motivation for us to give very good maybe contribution, how we able to reduce the emission, how to lesser the contribution of the transportation by EV utilization in the region. Next slide, please. Actually, in terms of the awareness of the energy efficiency or energy intensity reduction, all member states are aware on this one. You can see from here, including the Philippines, have very good target on this one, and we are still working on enhancing the target and replicate best practice for focusing area or country, for example, like CLM country in the region. Why we want? Because we want to close the gap for the region, because we want the region as a whole will contribute on more and more energy intensity reduction to the global level. Next slide, please. In terms of the decarbonization in transportation sector, we also recognize all member states has set target already. If you can see here from the graph, not only in the near term, short term, also for the long term, as you can see here from Cambodia. So we want to see synergy here, how each country able to support each other to achieve their target. There is no competition, there is no comparison from one achievement to another achievement. We want a synergy and connection here. How, for example, Indonesia can share value to other countries like Vietnam, Thailand, also vice versa, including Singapore and Philippines. That's why I think this meeting and this exhibition is very important to share and show how we really contribute each other, how we really care each other in the region to achieve the decarbonization pathway in transportation sector. Next slide, please. Focusing on the challenge, let me start on the charging station infrastructure. This is the top challenge, because when we discuss with our direct stakeholder, the public, maybe someone who not yet touched by EV, they have concern. How is the infrastructure compared to fossil-based transportation? How the government want to pursue it? Because they recognize government already set a policy, put more incentive, make more privilege for people who has the EV. However, how we want to pursue the infrastructure development, because it's costly, they still worry about it. I think Aviva and Network, we here to sit together to discuss how we want to pursue better solution on these matters. Second, something that we need to see is supporting policies and regulation. As I mentioned earlier, yes, we have available policy and regulation. However, whether it is enough to boost more and more positive environment for EV in the region. For example, like fiscal, non-fiscal policy should move away from conventional mobility incentives. We underline the incentives. This is quite sensitive issue. not only maybe from certain country, but I think for all countries. And policies to mobilize and attract non-investment to EV market is necessary. Sorry, more investment of EV market is necessary. I think this is also very good encouragement if applied to all member states. And the next one is operation and maintenance support. The growing EV market requires higher O&M for batteries, tires, brakes, and etc. For example, and specifically on the battery. I think this is why we need to touch on the supply chain side. How again, 10 ASEAN member states provide role. So, for example, one country has available raw material while we don't have capacity, we can have support from other countries as a partnering to develop something in place for the region. So at the end, it can reduce the cost. That's the easy talk, but much more complicated on the ground. The next one, electricity generation, of course. A lot of people, when we see EV, of course, in terms of the direct gas emitted from the vehicle, is very good. But if we connect where we get the source of the electricity, so this is something still debatable. We need to ensure the supply to the electric vehicle also coming from something renewables. So this is quite challenging looking at the current situation. But we can work together, for example, by integrating more renewable energy into the existing power plant and make connection. As I mentioned, we have ASEAN Power Grid. The existing one, we have Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore connection. This is very good, which meaning we're able to secure stable supply, which is good for the environmental of the EV. Last but not least, the life cycle assessment. This is important as well. We need to see the end of the cycle, whether the cycle is really green, whether by adopting more EV, we really adopt the greener energy development towards the SDGs target, towards the decarbonization target. So this is important. We really encourage all the players, including the academic institution, to partner with us. Also, the network here. Maybe we can set assessment and maybe